Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmIOverReacting for you all. As per usual, I'll be going through the post, giving you my opinion at the end, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Pretty Pineapple Berry. Am I overreacting? My husband, 26 male, locked me, 25 female, out for 25 minutes. Throwaway account. My husband and I have 3-year-old twin girls, and I'm currently 6 months pregnant with our third. We got in an argument over letting our daughters play outside. We got hit hard with the snow, but we both had work, so we didn't really have a chance to let the girls play in it. We were both off today, so I thought, perfect opportunity. This was the first winter they were old enough to care about snow, and they were mesmerized by it. So, this morning, I told my husband I'm going to take the girls out to play. He said he didn't want to come because it's too cold. I said that's fine, I'm taking them. He said he didn't want any of us outside because it's too cold and the girls will get sick. I kind of just laughed and said, we won't be long, it's 25 degrees Fahrenheit, not -20. I probably didn't handle it best and brushed him off, but he dropped it after that. I got the girls bundled up and we headed out front. We had fun for a few minutes and they loved it. But within 10 minutes, my husband was at the door calling for the girls to come in. They go inside, and I'm kinda just standing in the front yard annoyed for a moment. I go inside, only to find he's locked the door. I'm mad now. And I have to pee. I start knocking and calling for him, but he doesn't come to the door and is ignoring my texts and calls too. Even texted that I really needed to pee, and he ignored that too. The most upsetting part is that I could hear one of my daughters crying the entire time, stressed out knowing her mom is outside. So I stop knocking and sit on the porch. 25 minutes go by and he finally comes and unlocks the door. I push past him to go to the bathroom because I'm mad, about to pee myself and freezing at this point. He's smiling like it's funny and saying, "Oh, I thought you said it's not that cold, what's wrong?" We haven't spoken much today after that. He has genuinely never done something like this before. He's caring and not punishing or vindictive, so this really isn't in his nature. I'm appalled and really hurt. I understand I annoyed him by taking the girls out and he thinks I undermined his parenting, but I'm a grown woman. He doesn't get to punish me by locking me out of my own home, or maybe he's justified. I don't know. I feel crazy. Am I overreacting? That's just outright fucking abuse. This is actually just revolting behavior. OP's pregnant. An amazing comment thread from Obsolete Complete. Not overreacting. There's a big difference between going outside and actively playing in the snow for a few minutes and sitting out in the freezing cold. People take their kids skiing all the time. There are also countries that leave their children to nap outside in the snow in their prams, appropriately clothed and covered, of course. Also, it isn't even about being cold so much. He refused you access to your own home. He separated you from your children while they were distressed. He could have made you soil yourself and showed your girls that men don't need to respect the woman that they are in a relationship with. All to teach you a lesson because you dared not agree with his every opinion and decided to create a beautiful moment for your kids instead? How would he have felt if you had gone to your neighbor to use the bathroom and explained exactly why to them? Would he have been embarrassed for other people to have known what he did to you? Or would he have stood by it? I would be keeping an eye on that type of behavior to make sure he doesn't escalate. His actions were completely over the top and totally out of proportion to the situation. User I'm a Mama B responds, "This is an incredible point about going to the neighbor and explaining. I'd be willing to bet that would make him even more upset. There's nothing an abuser hates more than to be painted as an abuser. Your child, or potentially both of them, were crying on the inside. He actively forbid you access to your own home to attempt to prove a point. It doesn't matter how cold it was. The point is that at any moment in time, until he decided to lock the fucking door, you could have gone inside once you felt you were starting to get cold. But not anymore, because he wanted to prove a point. I honestly wonder what would have happened if you texted him, 'I'm going to go to the neighbor's house to use their bathroom instead.' This is also definitely a sign to keep an eye out for his other different kinds of behaviors that have been going under the nose until now. Because while you say that he's not punishing or vindictive, this kind of behavior, the one that makes it so he locks you out of your home for 25 minutes, doesn't just pop up during a bad day. 30 seconds is an honest mistake where you just by habit lock the door behind you. 90 seconds is definitely a bit of a temper tantrum and high anger, and you now need to go to anger management therapy. 25 minutes? That crosses into an insane amount of vindictive, purposeful, and just outright abusive behavior. It's planned. And now that you've seen this, keep your eye out, because I guarantee you'll start to notice little things. Whether it's accidentally breaking a dish while doing the dishes when he said he was too busy to do the dishes, or maybe even accidentally, air quotes there, ruining some of your laundry on laundry day. Little things, small things. Things which he very much should know better, but specifically only hurt you. Little things that fly under the radar. Until now. I would find a way to document this in some way. If you have a doorbell cam, nice. If you don't, then maybe text him about it. Maybe record a conversation while you two talk about it. Something that allows you to get documentation of this event happening. Your divorce lawyer, if it comes to that, will thank you. If you're not careful and you don't start keeping your eyes open, you might realize too late that you're the frog in the pot of water. This is a post that I get the feeling is going to turn into a saga over time. I'll be keeping an eye on it, but oh boy, is it very quickly evolving into something special. Posted by Gems138. Am I overreacting? My girlfriend left me over a cheese wheel. I, 27 male, and my girlfriend, 26 female, were saving for a house down payment. I work, she's unemployed. I have saved $32,000 and she has saved $4,000. So I feel like I bear the brunt of the financial decision making here. I was doing the Oxford County Cheese Trail and found a vault release. They were selling a 140-pound wheel of 21-year-old cheddar. It was aged using a traditional cloth-bound method that's practically extinct here in Canada. And with over 21 years, it is extremely concentrated. 21-year-old cheddar often sells for $120 a pound. The farm was selling the entire wheel for $18,500. If I cut it into 200-gram wedges and sell it at $60 each, I can make $38,000. I bought the cheese wheel and brought it home in my truck. And here is that cheese wheel, and here is the receipt for that cheese wheel. When I rolled it into our apartment, at first she was excited. When I started to explain the financials and investment potential, she turned sour. She didn't yell, but expressed she wasn't happy about how I spent my share of our house savings. She is now staying with her parents. I think she's overreacting because she doesn't understand the Canadian housing market. Our savings is not enough for a down payment without a ridiculous mortgage, and we need to take these opportunities. Am I overreacting, or am I the only one with ambition in our relationship? Too long didn't read, my girlfriend is staying with her parents because I spent my share of our savings on a cheese wheel, which can be cut into wedges and sold for a sizable profit. Edit photos available in my update. Thank you! Update. 1 day ago as of recording. My girlfriend left me over the 21-year-old cheese wheel. Now my landlord is trying to evict me for commercial activity. Am I overreacting? Photos in the comments says I can't add to the post. I have taken some of your feedback into consideration for my last post. For those curious, my girlfriend is no longer in the picture. She cracked due to low risk tolerance. So, I've decided to go all in on the business. I initially tried to return the wheel to the distributor to recoup some capital, thinking they'd have some pity. They were actually considering it until they came out to look at it in my truck. Apparently, the minor heat damage I caused to the paraffin wax while trying to open last week compromised the wheel, which was already non-refundable in the first place. Since I'm now stuck with a 140-pound, $30,000 plus asset, I had to pivot to asset protection and keep what I still have. I went out and bought a true TBB-2-HC 59-inch solid door back bar cooler, a professional digital temperature humidity controller, an industrial humidifier, a vacuum sealer, and ripening mats. Total cost was about $8.5K after taxes. Expensive? Yes, but I wasn't going to let a $30,000 plus investment depreciate value. The delivery was difficult. My apartment door is narrow, so I had to take the door entirely off the hinges and shimmy the cooler into the living room. I had maybe a millimeter of clearance between the frame and the unit. I was exhausted and excited, so I started researching installation on my phone before putting my front door back on. That's when my landlord walked in. Apparently, he believes my door being off the hinges somehow removes my reasonable right to privacy. We already have a strained relationship because of my own use of the unit. He still holds a grudge because I was doing some light metal fabrication with a consumer plasma cutter in my kitchen a few months ago. He saw the cooler, the vacuum sealer, and the wheel of heritage cheese and started crying about commercial operations and fire hazards. I told him very clearly, the cheese is for personal consumption. There is nothing in my lease that limits how much dairy a tenant can own. This morning I found an eviction notice in my mailbox. It's riddled with spelling errors as if written in haste. I'm already preparing my defense for the landlord-tenant board. Am I overreacting? I'm being evicted over dietary preferences, as far as the landlord is concerned, and I feel like this is an unlawful eviction. And it added a plus to the valuation as it is possible to increase my margins depending on the quantities I sell in. Also, please bear in mind that I have sold 0 cheese, so I feel this is a premature action. Thank you! I feel like Palpatine right now, eyeing up Anakin Skywalker and just will be watching your career with great interest. Honestly, you're already kind of too far in right now. You jumped the shark, and you got the wheel. You got all the equipment. I don't really know if I can talk you down from it, so good luck. And, yeah, I don't really know what to say to you, buddy. This whole situation that you've gotten yourself into is a fucking train wreck, but I'm here for it, bud. Good luck. Also, I love the line, she cracked due to low risk tolerance. Posted by Gucci Dust 445. Am I overreacting? My mom seems to think my unborn baby is her baby. I'm 28 female, about to be a first-time mom. My due date is in May. I was so excited when I found out, and I couldn't wait to tell my mom. She was the first person I told back when I was only 4 weeks pregnant. She's been begging me to come with me to my parental appointments, but I want my husband there. And they only allow one extra person, so I can't bring them both. She thinks that he should at least sit one out so she could go. But obviously, he wants to be there. My sister had a baby last year. My baby will be my mom's second grandchild. And she went to all of her appointments, so I understand that she wants to go to mine. At first, I thought I was being unfair about it, but she's been slowly becoming more annoying about the whole pregnancy. Once I told her the first and middle name we picked out, she said, "You should make the middle name my name." For the sake of this post, we'll say my mom's name is Anna. First off, it's wild, to me, to ask someone to name your kid after them, grandma or not. Second, wouldn't it be less special that you have to ask? Shouldn't it be something that I come up with? So now, every time we catch up, she asks me, "How's baby name Anna?" I keep correcting her, and she just laughs and brushes it off. Now she's getting into the habit of saying, "I can't wait to see my baby. How is my baby doing?" I think it's so weird to call someone else's unborn child your baby. I wanted her to be in the delivery room with us, but now I'm having second thoughts. I feel like it's going to turn into a huge argument, and I don't want that added stress during a huge moment in my life. And I'd like to have my mom there. Any advice is appreciated. Also, I'd like to add this. My mom is very religious and I am not. She knows this and has been open about how she regrets not taking me to church more often. That being said, she made a comment early on in my pregnancy that if I don't take my baby to get baptized, she will go and do it behind my back whenever she babysits. I sat there in silence because I just had no idea what to say to that in the moment. It instantly killed any trust I had in her to babysit. And I haven't told her that either, but that's another conversation for another day. I don't feel like I'm overreacting about that. So it sounds like your mother is the type of person that when you say no to something, she sees that as a challenge rather than a boundary, something to be convinced of otherwise. She sees them as being more of a challenge than an actual boundary being set up and a firm no. And I think honestly what OP needs to do is the time for pleasantries and trying to politely draw those boundaries are done. Because it's clear that by just saying, no, I don't think I'm going to do that, or I don't know about that, or any of those kind of soft, I don't want this to happen, but I'm not going to be mean to you, forms of communicating boundaries aren't working with her. And now you just need to kind of blatantly break it down for her in probably one of the more brutal ways of, Mom, I'm not going to name her after you. You're not going to baptize her. That's not what I want. If you cannot respect what I want to do for my child as a mother, then you will not be able to see your grandchild. It's not a game. It's not something for you to convince me out of. These are boundaries I'm setting in place that you need to respect. It's unfortunate that the kind and diplomatic and pleasant way of approaching this hasn't worked. And now, you need to carve those lines in stone and tell her, just outright, what is and is not going to fly if she wants to actually have a relationship with her granddaughter. The thing is, if you don't carve those lines out now, she's just going to take and take and take. You know, give a mouse a cookie and all. Suspicious Dot 7019. Am I overreacting? I got the ick. Puffer Jacket Edition. I've been dating someone for under a year. We were out on a date and got into a disagreement about how the other person shows up for me. We're long distance and he waits until the last minute to actually book travel plans, which, to a type A person on the other end, it feels like it gives him the longest time for a possible out and that I'm not a first priority. Anyway, the whole fucking time, he's wearing a puffer coat. And while we're sitting there and I'm expressing feeling, he has it zipped all the way up. Literally all the way up. He unzips it a quarter of the way, zips it back up, bites on the edge of it. All while I'm trying to express deep-ass feelings. And he's talking while doing it. So sometimes his voice is muffled by the fucking puffer coat. And then, he wore the hood the entire Uber ride back. I got the ick so bad, I'm ready to be done for good. Truth be told, he was wearing this same coat and doing this same thing during another high-stakes conversation. Then, we get back to the hotel, I walk into the bathroom after him, and there's his loogie of toothbrush spit waiting in the center of the sink. Come on, brother, wash it down the damn drain. Ugh. Double ick. I honestly can't unsee these things. Just to add, LOL, this is what I get for not being descriptive enough. Some of you are funny as fuck, thanks for the laughs. I wrote this when I was drunk last night and I really just wanted to make people laugh from this encounter. If you want the background of heavier things I've been through in this relationship, you got it. When I brought up the way I was feeling last night, he did not recognize my feelings. His immediate response was to say he felt attacked, scolded, and like I don't value him. I made it very clear to acknowledge his effort for coming to see me, but that intentional planning means a lot more. It didn't have to be a huge thing. He is consistently defensive when I bring up my emotions and always flips it around to the point where I'm trying to resolve his hurt feelings to my emotion instead. This is a pattern. Yes, for the love of God, he does show up and has only fully flaked on me twice. Yes, I make the effort to go to him too. I'm not asking him to be someone he's not. I'm asking him to sometimes meet me a fraction of the way and show intention behind planning things early and booking a damn dinner reservation. I'm not asking for the world. I'm not skewering him for being a procrastinator. It's a minor ask in a relationship. Mans may have been stimming, but he is also the most extroverted people person and got far in his career for being this way. It felt like I wasn't being taken seriously. Also, we were inside in the warmth, everyone. The coat being on in its simplest form made no sense. My boyfriend is married and trying to split. He moved out of his house and lives in Airbnbs. At one point, he moved back home with his wife for 2 to 3 months because he forgot to book his next one on time. This grew resentment in me. He did not make an effort to find somewhere until I told him this was a deal breaker and not okay. Multiple times has fabricated his location when we are together. When asked about it, he said, in summary, it is to spare his wife's feelings. Why do they even share location? His wife will call him late at night when we're together. He does not make plans that last longer than 2 to 3 days with me. I would be moving across the country for this person, but they cannot provide me a level of stability I need. Some of you who said this may be other underlying issues presenting themselves as a much smaller problem, you're probably dead on. I think the elephant in the room here is you're the other woman and he's lying to you, and he's not actually trying to split from his wife, and he's just lying to you. Like, you're telling me he's actively trying to split from his wife, and his wife calls him every night. He only is out for 2 to 3 days, and also he shares his location with her. Like, the puffer jacket quirks and features aside, that is a massive red flag there, and I feel like you are ignoring everything that's pointing to. Like, I understand that divorce proceedings can take a while, and you can be separated and also searching for another relationship while actively seeking that out, but there is definitely a massive red flag with her calling him every night, him only being gone for 2 to 3 days, and, all the other stuff listed above. That's the weird part to me. That's the big red flag. I feel like if he was actually truly separated, there wouldn't be nightly check-ins and sharing of location and whatnot. The only thing, of course, that would 100% shoot this entire theory in the ankles and leave it in the backyard in a ditch for dead would be if the wife knew of your existence. But when it comes to the puffer jacket, are you dating Kenny from South Park? Swagnasty19. Am I overreacting? My mom stole money from me and gets mad whenever I ask for it back, so I'm cutting her off. Every summer, my mom has a yard sale. The setup is usually the same. I send items, my sister helps organize it at her house, and whatever money is made gets split. This past summer, I sent a lot of items and most of them sold. When I later asked how much my share was, my mom told me she was keeping the money and that it would go towards a family trip. Both my sister and I told her we didn't want that. We needed the money now. We weren't thinking about a trip at all. She ignored us, and we eventually dropped it. Recently, my mom sent out details for a birthday trip she's planning and inviting people to. I asked if I'd be getting a discount since she kept my yard sale money. She said no. I told her I'd rather just have the money back because it felt like the family trip excuse was made up. I called her out and said she was basically stealing from me. She argued that I wasn't using the items I sold anyway, so I wasn't missing anything. She also said that whatever she would have put toward a trip would have been more than what she owed me. I told her I don't want a coupon for an unknown amount. I want the actual money that I can use on needs. She said she'd send it, then hung up. She never sent anything. My sister later told me that my mom feels like I'm doing well, even specifically mentioned amounts she thinks I earn. So she thinks she can take from me. If she's comfortable taking from me now, I don't know how to have a relationship with her going forward. Am I overreacting if I cut her off over this? So, are you doing this to cause pain, or are you doing this to make your life easier? That's, I think, probably the biggest question, because if you're cutting her off because her actions actively make your life hell beyond this yard sale incident, then yeah, I'd say it's a good choice. But if this is just for the yard sale incident, I would say maybe pull back just a little bit and start with keeping her at arm's length, keeping conversations to a minimum, letting her know that you have no interest in maintaining or expanding a relationship with her if she's going to disrespect you in this way, if she's going to not pay you for the items that you sold because she has preconceived notions about your finances. But once again, if the yard sale isn't strike one, then I would say not overreacting and going limited to no contact if your mother is actively acting like this beyond just this one instance may not be a bad idea. If she's unwilling to treat her own child with respect, then why should you do the same? Head Sorbet 5322. Am I overreacting for refusing to give up my bed for my parents and in-laws? Hello, my husband, 38, and me, 33, have bought the house of my in-laws. They moved to live closer to my sister-in-law and her baby. We have changed all the furniture, of course, and decided to turn the former children's rooms into offices. We do not have a guest room, only a pull-out sleeping couch. Both the in-laws and my parents slept on that couch before in our old flat. However, now my in-laws come to visit and they refuse to sleep on the couch. They asked us to give up our bed for them instead. I was really offended by that, and so was my husband. It's our bed, our private space, and our home now, no longer theirs. It just appeared incredibly entitled to me, especially since they come to visit for a house party when we have other guests. We announced to everyone we didn't have space. Originally, we didn't even want to offer them the couch because I have a friend I wanted to invite who can't afford a hotel room, so I promised them the couch already. My husband offered to move the friend to an air mattress so his parents could have the couch, but they demand our bed. I was quite passive-aggressive in my response and refused to give up the bed. I don't even want them to come at all with that attitude, except I know how bad it would look. Am I overreacting? My own parents claim giving our own bed to elder guests is a matter of respect and gratefulness, and they themselves were offended in the past when we didn't offer. Like, we should always do it, period. Not just in this situation. They prefer to go to a hotel over sleeping on the couch after trying it once, except this is the first time I heard they felt that way. We got that couch specifically for guests, and yet it's apparently not accommodating enough. All of our friends are fine with it, but the parents have higher standards. I have no problem if they want to stay in a hotel instead, but demanding our bed rubs me the wrong way. I felt like they were still seeing it as their house, not ours, and not respecting our decision to not have a guest room. We have guests very rarely, but both of us do home office stuff some days. Yet it might just be a member of generational expectations I honestly didn't know about. So I thought this was a bit out of pocket and kind of rare, but apparently it's not. User Informal Dentist 2031. I don't like what that name implies. My mother-in-law and her husband stayed with us for 5 nights after our wedding, and expected that we should give her our bed. Imagine that. Our first 5 nights as man and wife with mother-in-law sleeping in our marital bed. Hell no. So no, you're not overreacting. Do they not know what a hotel is? OP responds, they do, and my own parents are staying in a hotel. Thing is, they originally planned to stay with a friend, but have recently had an argument with them and are no longer on speaking terms. I guess they don't see why they should pay for a hotel when returning to their hometown and the house they build, when they always offered us a bed to sleep on when we stayed over. Except we stayed in the children's room or slept on a mattress. We didn't take their bed. We don't have extra beds anymore. Plus, we gave all our money and savings to them to buy the house, and my husband recently lost his new job. To complain to us how a hotel would be too expensive to them is just super rude in my opinion. So I've both heard of and had to deal with giving up your bed when relatives are visiting as a child, but not like an adult having to give up their master bedroom to their visitors because it's apparently the respectful thing to do to your elders. I've already told myself that when I have kids, I'm never making them give up their beds for visiting family members, even if it's my own mother or father. I'm sorry, while I love them dearly, I'm not making my child give up their room. I hated that as a kid. Now, I can't even fathom being asked as an adult to give up the master bedroom for my parent. That also might be because I just cannot fathom them asking that. There is a comment from Fabulicious Fruit Loop. You're overreacting. I have a slightly different view to many of the other replies. For context, we have done a lot of hosting and shared living over 30 years. The couch beds are mostly inferior. At 50, my heart sinks when I have to sleep on one now. If you have people to stay frequently, and you don't have a guest room set up when this is a possibility, the hospitality is not great if this couch thing is the only option. We have a very expensive one in our outdoor cabin and it's still inferior. As a younger person in my 20s and 30s, I have absolutely given my room to visiting relatives or other guests heading north of midlife. It's not weird, it's not some territorial imperative I must sleep in my bed, it's the better mattress, and I just rearrange the rooms according to level of need. You can say that mid-60s they don't have any physical issues, but life is not as comfy north of 50. Bodies are getting tired and cranky. OP responds, who is also downvoted for this, That is similar to what my parents have said as well. I can see the issue with the bed in their older age, but I don't see why it's such a problem to get a hotel. If we didn't have money trouble, I'd even be willing to pay for a hotel for them. Still way less of a bother than remodeling a room as a guest room and sacrificing that space. We are both doing occasional home office work. One office is cramped full. It's basically a library. The other has more space, but that will likely become a children's room if we ever decide to have one after all. We get elderly visitors maybe 3 times a year. I do not see why I have to keep a guest room for that. User Icy Television 4979 comments, "So set it up as a guest room until you have kids." I feel like that commenter did not read the response at all. Literally, hey, we only have visitors maybe 3 times a year and we don't want to sacrifice the space because we both have home offices we use somewhat often. And they were downvoted for that. And Icy Television was upvoted for having the literacy of a blind caterpillar, an indirect one if you would. For me also, because of who I am, if I have someone who is not me sleeping in my bed, that means I'm going to have to change and wash the sheets, and then they sleep in the bed, then I'm going to have to change and wash the sheets again so I can feel comfortable sleeping in my own bed that next night. I included that comment thread because I thought it was pretty cut and dry that, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous to ask OP to give up their bed. But OP was downvoted for just simply explaining the fact of they don't have a guest room, they don't want a guest room right now, and now they're being told, yeah, just get rid of your home office and turn it into a guest room when they visit maybe 3 times a year. What the fuck? Also, I do just want to add soft credit to Fabulicious Fruit Loop who did post the original comment. They did state that they recognize the situation that OP is in. They would just do something different from their experiences. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by GamerSupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend GamerSupps enough. Use code Oz at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those 2 are my personal favorites right now.